Hey!
Right, you can hear me, I can hear you. Excellent.
Excellent. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I can't complain. I made it out of a snowstorm today so far, so life is good.
Good. So where are you today then?
I am in a town called Sindleton, Wisconsin.
Right.
In the great north, the frozen tundra.
Right. Wow. You must do some mileage.
Yeah, about 150,000 miles a year.
Wow. That's hard work.
Not really. You just sit down, don't hit shit. Pretty much that's it.
Fair enough. I drive for a living. It makes me very tired. You know, there's only so long I can sit staring at the back end of another car, and I just start nodding off.
Listen to Pantera. Works for me.
Excellent. That truck, the interior of that truck looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not going without much. I have a refrigerator, a freezer, a microwave. I don't watch TV. If I do watch anything, it's on my cell phone. I have an amp and cab and pedals and all kinds of stuff, guitars.
Yeah.
It's home when I'm not at home.
Yeah. So
I don't go without much.
How long have you been doing that job? How long have you been trucking?
24 years in January.
Wow.
Next month.
Wow.
On the 1st. I started on New Year's Day.
Incredible.
24 years.
Wow. Excellent. Well,
It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks very much for joining us. I always watch your demos. They're great fun.
Yeah. What someone say to me the other day, they said they don't care what I'm demoing. They watch it to see what I'm going to say next. I'm like, do I say stuff that's that crazy in my demos? So I started watching them back because it seems to be a thing that people say from time to time. I don't see it, but I guess maybe just because us people in Maine talk and act differently, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Me, it's just normal speak, but to other people, I say some nutty stuff, I guess.
Well, you're offering something really, really different, you know what I mean? I mean, there you are, guy doing some truck driving and putting your amp and your guitar outside and doing some demos. That's pretty unique.
Well, you got to use what you have when you spend 90% of your time on the road.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to go home with all the stuff I have to do when I go home and make my whole entire time at home demoing gear.
Yeah.
Because if I get gear, the first thing people say is, when's the demo coming?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't even got a chance to play it yet. So what I've done now is the first time I play it, I record myself using it the very first time. Now, when it come to find out, people like that because it's an honest review. Because if I'm plugging in and don't know what it does, I don't have time to sit with it and make it sound good. It either sounds good or it don't.
Yeah.
There's no hiding it.
And where is home for you, other than your truck?
Belmont, Maine.
Right.
Way out there, middle of nowhere. Literally, I live at the bottom of a mountain.
Excellent. Great stuff. I'd love to come trucking with you one day. Just sit in passenger and just see the sights of the States and listen to
Lots of highway.
Yeah, just listen.
Look, there's an exit. Oh, look, there's another exit. There's really nothing to see. Lots of bad traffic out east. That's about it.
You know what?
You want to see more vehicles in one place? There you go.
You know what? We've been going about 2-3 minutes and you haven't swore yet. I'm really impressed.
I actually have a note that says, don't swear.
Oh, come on.
I've been really trying to work on it because it all started with a lady that got a hold of me. And her son just started learning how to play guitar. And he thought it was funny. So he started watching my videos. He's also the reason why now, if you go and check my stuff, it says not made for kids. But she was very, very upset with my language because I used a couple expletives that really no 8-year-old child should be subject to. I felt both this big. The C word's not for little ones, No. And I don't really buffer my language. And then I was like, well, I do have quite a few people watching what I do. Yeah. Maybe I should cut it back a little bit. So I got a swear jar. Yeah. And I can't reach it from where I'm sitting. It's an old pickle jar. I filled it 4 times with 10 pieces with dimes.
Brilliant.
My mouth is that horrible. And that's not me swearing in my day-to-day life. That's just making videos.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. That's not my day-to-day life. Oh, man, I need to take out another bank account to take care of what goes on. My language is horrible. I think I figured out how to put the most swears in a sentence and how the sentence makes sense than anybody else on earth or something. It's got to be some kind of record. But
Yeah. Oh,
it's atrocious. I will cuss. It's guaranteed. No matter what I do, I can try to think 4 sentences ahead and something's coming out. Because I don't know. When I grew up, I mean, my mom didn't like it when we cussed, but she always brought us up to own your stuff. Screw up, own it. Take responsibility for it. If you say something, back it up or take responsibility for it. You know, I didn't have anybody telling me not to swear, other than every once in a while I'd say something really bad. She'd give me that look, and it's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't say that again. But
we all do it now and then, so it's just how it is, isn't it? So look, really pleased that you've joined us, and so the group members can get to know a bit more about you, because we see all your demos and everything, and it's just really nice to get to know the personality behind all the Doomster riffs. I mean, your guitar riffs are superb.
I don't know. I just aimlessly chug. I should be way better for the amount of time I've been playing guitar. I should be a much better guitar player. But I did it as a hobby. When I was really, really bad and deep into drugs in a really bad way. And when I got out of it, I needed something to put my attention towards that would take my mind and put it somewhere positive.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to learn how to play guitar. And I heard the song Enter Sandman the day they released it. It was like, oh, that's just the coolest riff ever. I'm going to learn how to play guitar. That was my answer.
Wow. And how old were you then?
Yeah, I quit doing drugs about 2 months before that song came out. And that just, I heard that riff. And it just was so catchy. I was like, this is the coolest song I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to learn how to play that on the guitar. That was the very first song I ever learned how to play on guitar. Yeah. I literally went out and got back in the day, it's called a Guitar World. They had the tab. I learned how to play it all by myself. I borrowed a guitar off a buddy of mine and just figured it out. I've never had a lesson. I've just always just picked it up, decided, oh, I like the sound of this. I'm just going to find out how to make that sound on the guitar.
So are you entirely self-taught then?
Yep. I call myself a mimic. Like, if you was to play a blues lick and I watched you play it, I could turn around and play it.
Right.
If I heard it, I could figure it out, but it would take me a little bit. But if I could see you play it, I've got it.
Yeah.
Like, I went and saw Metalicca live in 1994. And I came back home and played the whole entire set. Because I could remember what James was doing.
Wow.
It's just, I call myself a mimic, because if I see somebody do it and it makes sense to my brain, I can turn around what I see I can do on the guitar.
Wow.
That's why I don't do solos, because I could never watch fingers that fast.
Some people are like that, aren't they? You know, I have to work at, you know, whatever guitar ability I can do. You know, I have to work. I have to really, really practice. But, you know, my girlfriend's son, he is so musical, so talented. He can, on the piano, he can just hear something and just play it. And he's just, some people are like that, aren't they?
Well, if you think about it, though, and I learned how to play guitar after I was grown. I was already an adult. I wish I would have picked it up as a kid, because the way your brain functions when you're younger, you pick up on things that as you get older, you're not so aware of, because your brain's on 900 other things. And one of them is, like, some people can find 12 E's on the fretboard real fast.
Yep.
I can't. I know where there's a couple of them, but other than that, nope. And if I'm in a different tuning other than standard, don't ask me what the note is. This will always be an E string, no matter what it's tuned to.
Yeah.
That's how horrible I am.
What sort of bands have you been in the past, you know, growing up and things?
I've always been in metal bands, except for that one time I did country for a weekend because they needed help, and they told me I could learn all the songs in 2 hours, and they weren't lying. I learned all the songs in 2 hours. and I went out and did a show. But I was just a rhythm guy, you know, just strumming. Yeah. But it's usually been metal, just because I don't know. Like it all started with Metallica for sure.
Yeah.
And then I learned every Metallica song I could get my hands on. It just was a thing. At one point in time, I knew on command, I could play any Metallica song you wanted.
Wow.
4 kids later, not so much. Yeah. Didn't have time to live in Metallica world anymore. But I also found this evolution. And it's funny because I was watching your interview with Marty, the autistic guitarist. I love that guy, by the way. He is so awesome.
Yeah.
He has no idea what a blessing he is to the music community and humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
That guy is so awesome.
Yeah.
And to hear him talk about his influences, it's kind of the same thing. Like it all started with James Hetfield of Metallica. I didn't care what Kirk Hammett was doing. James looked cool. Whatever he played sounded awesome.
Yeah.
So I wanted to learn all the rhythm stuff. And then, of course, the next guy I kind of latched on to was Dimebag Darrell, you know, and someone told me, like, well, learn how to play something that everybody could get a hold of. I'm like, well, doesn't everybody like Metallica and Pantera? I mean, Jesus. Apparently girls don't. So I learned how to play the song More Than Words by Extreme, and I found out who Nuno Bettencourt was.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. Well, Morty wanted to learn the whittly. I wanted to learn his rhythms because his rhythms were interesting. Nuno Bettencourt's one of the best rhythm guitar players on the planet. His rhythms are very crazy and interesting, and they play tricks on your mind when you're trying to learn them. They're dead simple, but the way he applies them is not.
Yeah.
That makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then, of course, you know, Warren DeMartini, and then I learned a bunch of Rat stuff.
Has there ever been any others kind of guitarists that have interested you outside the metal and sort of genre?
Yep, there's been a lot of them. Almost all of my big influences are not metal. Like Steve Lukather, probably one of the top 10 guitarists to ever live. That guy is just a genius. He knows when to pick notes, how to use notes, and when he plays them better than anybody else. We can all play that same note. It's not going to sound as good as Steve.
Yeah.
And I think everybody, you got to find your own sound, and there's so much stuff out there that even today, there's an amp released every day that's made by somebody else, based on something, but it's a different flavor because them themselves couldn't really get what they wanted out of what was given to them.
Yeah.
Like recently, just one of those things, late at night, bored out of my tree, hanging out on reverb.com, just put in amps between $750 and $1,000. Just scrolling through to see what was in there, you know?
Yeah.
Ran across this amp from Republic Amps. Had no name on it, no nothing, no information whatsoever. Just said $800. Got a hold of Republic Amps, which happens to just be one guy in his basement. And he was like, well, I'll send it out to you. If you like it, keep it. You know, give me the money for it. If you don't like it, send it back.
Yeah.
He goes, it's been on my shelf for a long time. He sent it. It's probably one of the best amps I've ever played in my life. I was like, how fast can I give you the money? Now I'm harassing him for more amps because every amp that I hear him do, because he really wasn't doing videos or nothing until he did sporadic ones. But it seems like once I started doing my videos with his amp, now all of a sudden he's putting out videos of the amps and they just sound great. I'm like, I got to save some more money because I got to have that amp now. His amps are just brilliant. And he's so humble and so quiet. And it's like, dude, you got to get your stuff out there. Your stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, you know, I do this in my spare time. And it's like, well, literally that amp is awesome. It's quiet. You put I call overdrive pedal snot boxes. You put a overdrive pedal on it, and the fucking thing just roars. Like, it's devastating. And you don't have to, like, tweak forever. You can just slap the pedal on, bam, you're done. You're right in the zone. To me, that's a good amp, when you don't have to monkey with it and monkey with it and monkey with it.
Yeah.
You should be able to start everything at noontime and make slight adjustments.
Yeah.
That was an Eddie Van Halen thing, by the way. If you can't play it with everything on noontime, the amp is worthless.
Yeah, I think one of the best amps I've ever played was a little Cornford Hurricane 18 watt. It was awesome. Just where I'm in the Midlands in the UK, and in Leicester, which is one of the next cities on, there's a rehearsal studio called Quad. And when you go into Quad, a lot of rehearsal studios, a lot of the gear isn't, quite right. It's not the best of gear that you can borrow. But in this Quad studio in Leicester, they got Dr. Z amps, Cornford Hurricanes, and all sorts of stuff. So I was like, wow, I'm going to practice. I'm going to go on that Cornford Hurricane tonight. And he was like, nobody ever asks for the Cornford Hurricane. I'm going for that. And he just turned it up, 18 watts, gorgeous, loads of compression, and just really nice, really nice. So
what's good about that is when you're using something like that, you're automatically, just because you're using a piece of gear that a lot of people don't use, you're gonna define a sound that not anyone else is gonna have unless they, part of it is your hands, of course.
Yeah.
You touching the instrument is part of the tone, but then you have to take into effect the guitar, the amp, cables, every piece of wire counts when it comes to the tone. But the major thing's your hands.